Hi, this is John Allen Green, Franciscan hermit from Johannesburg, with my weekly podcast. Enough is enough. Anger, unresolved conflict, hatred, misunderstanding, pride, impatience, and self-reliance can lead any of us to throw up our arms in despair and cry, "Enough!" Each of us has been there. And each of us can empathize and have compassion with our neighbor. There were certainly many underlying emotions on this last Monday, the 30th of October, when demonstrations took place against farm killings here in South Africa. The supporters were from every place and denomination, and supported in many cities around the world. In a moment, however, this support changed as viewers saw images of the old South African flag being displayed. What happened that in one moment such empathy and compassion evaporated? Was it the unthinking and arrogant display by a symbol of oppression and division by a small group of these demonstrators? How did this small group suddenly become the torchbearer and the mouthpiece of all these demonstrations? How could such a small group generate such division, anger, and confusion? For many of us, I think, it felt like a kick in the backside. They had left the community of my fellow South Africans. Suddenly it all became about Black Lives Matter versus White Lives Matter. The powerful symbols of division had rendered our lives separate from their lives. This is the very nature of evil that tears apart, separates and divides. This disunity separates us from grace, as it separates us from the table of the Lord and the gifts of the Holy Spirit. The spirit of lies that was once the great spirit of light, Lucifer himself, leads to death in such an environment. You see, Lucifer was removed from the sight of God when he claimed that his life was worth more than those other lives that he would not serve. We too can be tempted to walk away from the community of saints and to seek consolation elsewhere. We too can leave the Lord and move away from truth, love, and life. Without the gifts of the Holy Spirit, which is always received in the center of the community, I can no longer bind my life to your life, and in that the light of hope fades. Without the gift of grace from the Lord's table in the community, peoples and nations, forgiveness is replaced by vengeance, intolerance, and darkness. Many are angry, disillusioned, and impatient. They're impatient at waiting for the Lord. Let our love for them be the light in the darkness of all dissolution. So it was also with the 5 foolish virgins who left their place at the door, their place with the Master, to seek for themselves the gifts of life away from the very source of that life. This does not only happen in countries and nations, but also in families, in religious communities, and even in the church. Let us not lose patience with each other as we acknowledge our common humanity and our common destination. It is at the very edge of darkness, at the very moment of our despair, as we acknowledge that we are no longer enough, that we see God is with us. We remember once more the gifts of the Holy Spirit to temper our anger and to let go of our impatience. May the Lord grant you his peace.